about a clash of the Titans with an actual Titan? Yeah, we're talking about the Mad Titan Thanos, and what would happen if he took place in an intergalactic showdown with DC's Darkseid. How will the MCU's greatest villain fare against someone who regularly trades blows with Superman? Well, let's find out.
All that for a drop of blood.
In their respective fictional universes, Thanos and Darkseid are two of the heaviest hitters around. Thanos was the primary antagonist of Marvel's Infinity Saga, you might have heard of it, and even this, powered down from the comic book version of the Mad Titan, packed a punch, often literally. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be discussing a Thanos without the benefit of the Infinity Gauntlet. First, because using a fistful of magical stones seems kinda like cheating, and second, because the Infinity Gauntlet doesn't work outside of the Marvel Universe. And I like to assume that this fight will take place on neutral ground. It may be a fake fight in which the combatants are fictional, but we still have to have some standards. In Marvel's corner, we have Thanos without his Infinity Gauntlet, but with plenty of other incredible skills. His parents were of the mighty Eternals, but their son was born with Deviant Syndrome. This gave him his, distinctive aesthetic and an understandable chip on his shoulder which wasn't improved by his own mother trying to take his life, constant bullying, and his relationship with the personification of death. But hey, who doesn't have a few issues of their own, right? Thanos is up there with Odin as one of Marvel's worst dads, and seems to confuse the terms adopted with kidnapped. He's always interested in causing mayhem and destruction, usually for his own selfish gain, and many of these so-called children of Thanos are his most powerful allies. Well, and then there are his kids who are constantly trying to eliminate him, but that's an entirely other story. Now that we've looked at one big giant alien with a massive face, let's look at another big giant alien with a big ol' face from the world of DC Comics. I'm talking about Darkseid, the greatest villain you never saw in the Justice League movie. Not only do these two comic book characters kinda look alike, but they have a similar disdain for other living creatures, and experience as terrible world-conquering tyrants. Back when he was known as Yuxus, he was causing drama with the old gods so he could steal their powers for himself, ultimately becoming the new god Darkseid. He went on to rule Apocalypse, which is a less than sunny place, and he has his own gaggle of kids he's less than an ideal dad to. Parenting issues aside, let's check out the aspects of Thanos and Darkseid which are more likely to be relevant in a battle. In the MCU, Thanos was way more than simply an enemy of Earth. He had the entire galaxy out to get him, and his forces easily dispatched the Nova Corps. Now, just keep in mind that he's way stronger in the comic books. In fact, nobody knows exactly how strong he is, but even among Eternals, he's a heavy hitter. Even the MCU version of Thanos brought down the Incredible Hulk with ease, and the comic book version has taken down powerful characters like the Silver Surfer and the Thing. As for Darkseid, sure, I could talk about his most infamous battles, but what really needs to be said other than the fact that he's survived Superman going all out against him and lived to talk about it? When it comes to pure punching power, Darkseid can trade blows with Kal-El, overpower multiple non-Kryptonian heroes at the same time, and shatter devices made by the Green Lantern. We've seen Superman lift 200 quintillion tons. So even if Darkseid can't hit as hard, the fact that he can withstand such a strike is a testament to his own power. Neither of these characters are known for their speed, and although we have seen Thanos snatch an Infinity Gem away from the speedy Silver Surfer, he seems to go as fast as his storylines require him to. Same with Darkseid, who regularly goes up against incredibly fast characters like Superman and the Flash. The point here definitely goes to Darkseid, but both he and Thanos have more impressive powers than their abilities to hustle. And really, you don't have to go that fast if you're as nearly impossible to defeat as these two. As you probably guessed from the word eternal, Thanos is a difficult guy to get rid of. He's immune to all disease and aging, so even after death revoked his ban on passing away, he's still pretty invulnerable. Thanos can shrug off attacks meant to decimate planets, and took a blow from Thor with a power gem like it was nothing. Not only is it hard to pull off a hit against him, but if he does take damage, he's able to heal incredibly quickly and restore damaged tissue. Darkseid is also more difficult to destroy than a planet, which is an impressive feat to say the least. He can also regenerate, and it pretty much takes an entire multiverse worth of juice to bring him down. Thanos isn't short on stamina in a fight, but it's hard to beat Darkseid battling his brother Highfather Isaiah for 7 days straight. Talk about a sibling rivalry. So far, we've compared pretty standard supervillain stats between the two. Both Thanos and Darkseid are way faster, stronger, and more agile than us puny humans. But now, let's take a look at the special skills that make each of these comic book characters so unique. and so dangerous. Thanos' major power is his ability to manipulate energy and use it as an offensive weapon. He can shoot infrared beams from his eyes, so he's not a guy you want to look at the wrong way. And for defense, he can move and shape energy into shields and barriers to protect himself from taking damage. Just in case you thought I was exaggerating about Thanos being stronger in the comics than in the MCU, remember that Endgame could have gone quite differently if Thanos could just blink our heroes out of existence without even having to snap his fingers. He can also manipulate matter, and although we haven't seen much of this power, it was enough to turn the Skrull's scrag into stone, so it seems worth mentioning. And then there's his telepathic abilities. Many characters are vulnerable to psychic attack, but Thanos is not one of them. He's held off heavy hitters like Moondragon and Mantis, and used his own power to make Hulk attack the Avengers. Not that the Hulk needs any help in that department. As for Darkseid, his major move is tapping into the cosmic energy field known as the Omega Effect. If you're more of a Marvel fan, it's kinda similar to the Odin Force. It's a massive force of power, but using it takes some time, and those who utilize it can be vulnerable when they're charging up or recovering. The Omega Effect is, well, it's why Darkseid is a god and not just another villain. He has cosmic awareness, which means he can see the inner workings of the universe, even in other dimensions, which is handy since he can also quickly travel to different dimensions and across space and time. And that's without having to hunt for Infinity Stones. Darkseid has telepathic and telekinetic powers, but his main offensive move is his Omega Beams. Like Thanos, he has an eye-based attack, only this one is mighty enough to destroy entire planets. Even if Darkseid stands perfectly still, this attack is quick enough to tear down DC's speedsters. Frankly, those Omega Beams are so OP that his other skills like being able to change size or send out erosion blasts are barely worth mentioning. But like all characters, Darkseid does have weaknesses, and they're actually in line with the Mad Titans for the most part. Their greatest foes are really themselves, and that's saying something considering all the heroes that have tried to bring them down over the years. In the comics, Thanos even sabotaged himself after getting the Infinity Gauntlet because he knew deep down that he was not worthy of wielding it. Darkseid is known for being a tad obsessive and can get a bit of tunnel vision when he goes after something. Neither villain is short on enemies that they've accumulated thanks to their despicable deeds, and when it comes to genuine weak points, they really don't have many. I'm gonna go ahead and say that this battle is taking place on a neutral battlefield, since being close to Apocalypse would be way too much of a benefit for Darkseid. If he needs a regeneration boost, he can make himself cozy in the heart of Apocalypse and devour the planet's energy. Not only is this as bad for the planet as it sounds, but it also makes Darkseid vulnerable, since he can't leave until the process is complete. It may seem a little bit unfair to take Darkseid away from such a major power source, but honestly, he doesn't need it to take down Thanos. Thanos is a guy who spends most of his life trying to impress Lady Death, and more often than not falling short. If you think modern dating is difficult, try asking out an ancient and powerful being who tells you that she won't return your texts unless you become a god. And then when you essentially do become a god, she goes all Shania Twain on you because that don't impress her much. And then we have Darkseid, who took the power of the old gods to become a new god himself. I could sit here and argue about which of these guys can run faster or who can punch the hardest, but at the end of the day, all it's gonna take is a single Omega Beam from Darkseid to send Thanos straight to his girlfriend, the Grim Reaper. These beams are nearly impossible to avoid since they lock onto their target's atomic frequencies, which means even Thanos' special little teleportation seat probably wouldn't get him out of the way in time. Even if we give Thanos the benefit of calling on his allies like the Black Order, Darkseid has friends too. Well, maybe friends is a strong word, but who needs to make friends when you can raise a reanimated army? And did I mention that the Omega Beam can take out entire planets? Unless Thanos is on the outs with his lady love and banned from her realm, one hit from an Omega Beam would be enough to destroy him. Thanos can recover from a lot of injuries, but we've seen him taken down by Drax the Destroyer when he less than carefully removed his heart. Thanos will always have a special place in my heart as the star of the Infinity Saga and the ace pilot of the Thanos copter. But Darkseid would win this battle hands down, at least in my opinion. Thanos' only real chance would be to get his hands on a hefty helping of Radion, a substance the new gods are vulnerable to. But we've seen Darkseid survive being stuck with Radion, so while this would give Thanos a chance, it wouldn't be much of one. Thanos would have to be extremely well prepared and lucky to even survive a confrontation with Darkseid. And if his love life is anything to go by, luck isn't really his strong suit. So, who do you think would emerge triumphantly in this Clash of the Titans?